It is story time. Hey, best friend. What is up, my beautiful glamazons? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, what's up? I'm your girl, Nikki. I'm your prima, your best friend, and your sister all rolled into one. Make sure you have your wine, your snacks, everything you need. Also, before we go any further, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I do story times, advice videos, fashion videos, makeup videos, all kinds of videos here. So if any of that interests your beautiful self, I would love to have you be a part of my glam fam. Hit that subscribe button, that notification bell. You already know the dealio. But let's get into our glamazon shot of the day prior to all of my stories. And as Nikki's, I love giving my glamazons a shout out. So if you would like to submit your glamazon shot, definitely follow me on my socials. You can find me on Instagram at Nikki Glamour and Twitter at the Nikki Glamour, because the person that has my @ name will not give it to me. So that's where you can find me there. All you have to do is send me your cutest selfie, hashtag glamazon shot, and of course tag your girl, so I know that you really wanted my home skillet biscuits. Girl, I respect the skill. Everybody say what's up to our girl. You can find her on Instagram at makeup_by_Devin. Look at this skill. I love when I see you guys work with purples, because I just feel like I don't have the skill or the talent or whatever it is that you need in order to make this work. So girl, I envy you. I love this look. Thank you so much for being one of my ride or dies and watching my crazy ass. I really, really appreciate you guys. You guys know that I would not be here without you, and I could not do this without each and every one of y'all. So thank y'all so much from the bottom of my heart. Now let's get into this story time, girl. I don't even know what I'm gonna title it yet. I have no idea, but like, I just need you to know that, like, even though I was pretty petty to, you know, rectify this situation, I still feel like things are not settled fair and square, okay? And I don't know what this is. I should have did this, but we're gonna go with it. In today's story, I'm going to tell you guys about an unfortunate mishap that happened to me on the way to a job interview that ruined the job interview for me temporarily, but I definitely had to make things happen in order to put things back into place, and I found the person responsible. Just letting you know right now, get your wine, get your snacks, okay? Because we're about to get into story time. You ready? Let's go. So this took place when I was still in high school. I was 17 years old, and I have very lightly touched on this part of my life before, but most of y'all know I left home early, okay? I really did, and honestly, was it partially my mom and I? Yes, okay? Like every other teenager, I was fighting with my mom all the time, and of course it was because of boys and I didn't want to pay attention in school, but also huge part of why I wanted to leave home was because of Ariel's funky ass. I didn't want to deal with her no more. Like, straight up, I was so tired of like dealing with her issues and like her issues becoming my issues. And even if I had fuck ups, like, it wasn't just my fuck up, it was our fuck up. It wasn't her messed up, it was our messed up. Like, you know, it just made things complicated. And by this point, y'all, me and her weren't really even getting along. Like, it took a lot for us to talk, and when we did, it was few and far in between, and then I would like let her in, and then she would like betray me, and then like I was just like tired of going round and round, so I ended up dipping, okay? And it did not happen in a nice way. As you can imagine, my mom wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, you want to leave? Yeah, sure, here you go, like, here's some hot chocolate on the way out. No, it was a full-on fight. But nonetheless, I decided that I was grown-up enough. I was, I think, a month shy from being 18, so I figured, what you gonna do if I leave? Honestly, I remember telling my mom, I'm just ready to leave. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. And she and I weren't seeing eye to eye, and I decided that I was gonna peace out. And she was like, you do know that if you leave my house, I will not be paying for your phone. I will not be providing anything for you. You are deciding that you no longer want to be under my covering at all. So understand what it is that you're doing. Side note, this is why some of you guys will ask me how I did that. Some of you guys have thought about leaving home early, and I just want to let you know that from experience, this shit's hard. It's very hard, it's not easy, and it's kind of scary. So anyways, I decided to leave in my righteous anger, and I went directly to my best friend's house. And it just so happened to work out because my best friend was Heather's funky ass, and I knew where she lived. Obviously, I had been to her house so many times. It was legit like my second home, but also it was conveniently located around the corner from Robert's funky ass. Yes, they lived that close together. Okay, now that we know what we know about those two funky asses, I don't know how I feel about them having lived so close together all that time. You know, I go over there. I'm so pissed. I have a bag of my clothes and I pretty much let her know I just left my parents' house and I'm not going back. Like, I don't want to go back. I'm tired of all that drama that happens over there. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of being told what to do. Like, I wanted control over my own life. And I was like, I can do this on my own. So do you mind if I stay here? And she was like, yeah, you know, I don't mind at all. Her older brother that used to live in the basement had just moved out of the house. So she and I were staying down there in the basement. But I ain't gonna lie, girl, whenever, you know, Robert's funky ass's mom wasn't there, like, would I spend the night at his house sometimes? Yeah. Okay. Like, sometimes it was just easier. But, you know, my shit... I really was bouncing back and forth between these two homes while I tried to figure out what the fuck I was going to do, because now I'm a high school student and I just decided to leave home. So... oh shit. Her dad worked overnights. Her mom was hardly ever home. So I don't know what it was with these teenagers, y'all, but their parents was like never home. So I could stay wherever I wanted to for however long as I provided for myself. You know what I mean? I had a little bit of money saved up. I don't remember where it came from. I don't know if I saved it up. I just remember having like $80 on me when I left. So I was going to use that $80 to feed myself and to figure out what I was going to do next. And it was a very scary moment, but I felt like I was ready. Okay? Like, I wanted to be full grown status. All right? So I couldn't cry. I ain't scared. I really was scared. And I left home. Of course, Robert's funky ass was so happy because he no longer had to worry about, like, me not being able to text him, me getting grounded, my mom finding out about him having to sneak around, like, all of that mess that comes along with dating when you're not supposed to. All of that was gone. Poof, just gone. So he was really happy, but he also was like, you know, what you gonna do? Like, you know, fast forward about 2.5 weeks, something like that. And all of a sudden, this is around the time that Robert's funky ass's mom met a new man. She just had a breakup. So at that time, she was home all the time, you know, wallowing and stuff. And she was real nice. She really was. And my mama hates her. Oh my God, my mama hates her. Anyways, at this time, she had just met a new man. And apparently, you know, they had met back in the day. So, like, this was like her high school sweetheart or something like that. And she was really happy. And she was never home. It got to the point where one day I was hanging out with Robert's funky ass and his brother, and it was just us in the house, and they were playing video games or whatever. She came home. She sat down on the couch next to all of us and talked to all three of us like we were her children. Okay, I'm just there. And she's like, Nikki, yep, you need to sit down because I need to tell all y'all something. And I was like, all right. So, you know, we all sit down and we just, you know, they paused the game or whatever. And she was like, so I'm going to be spending most of my time at my man's house. And now, this is my home and I will pay the bills here because this is my home. But this is still housing all of y'all, especially you two. And she was talking to the boys. She, now at this time, Robert's funky ass had already graduated high school. She was like, now, Robert, you are a full grown ass man. She was like, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the responsibility of this house and taking care of yourselves to y'all. Because, you know, y'all always here anyway. Y'all always eating up all the food or whatever. She was like, Robert, you have your job. She was like, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay the rent and I'm going to pay most of the utilities. You guys will take care of at least 2 utility bills and provide your own groceries. I'll take care of everything else, but y'all keep my house intact. No big house parties. Don't be disrespectful. Don't mess anything up, this and that. So legit, y'all, she was literally handing over her house to a bunch of teenagers. Yes, Robert had graduated, but he was still like, 18, 19 years old. You know what I mean? Like we were so young. And then it's me. And at the time I'm 17. And then his little brother was like 15, 16 years old. So like, girl, I don't know look, I'm not here to be judging other people's parenting. That's just what happened. This really gave me some hope that I wasn't made to feel like I couldn't stay here. She was very understanding about that, so much so that my mama hates her for that to this day, that she was so good with me and her son being together and me being there all the time. Y'all take care of getting yourselves to school, getting yourselves to work. Like, she really was, outside of paying rent and all that, we were, she was pretty much telling us, y'all grown, go ahead, y'all got it. She has that conversation with us, and then she leaves to go to her man's house. And at that point, Robert and I straight up started thinking like we were playing house, okay? And I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I was not there just because, I want to live with my mans, like I want to be with him all the time. I was so worried about his little brother and the fact that he was so young and his mama was leaving the house and like, basically she was done, y'all. She was done skis with raising, okay? She was like, y'all got this. Like, y'all are grown enough and y'all got this. And she really did put the responsibility of Robert's little brother on Robert. And I don't know, y'all, like I don't know if it's like my motherly or womanly instinct came in, but I was like, oh my God, I have to take care of everything here, So Robert and I ended up sitting down and coming up with a plan of how I was going to get back on my feet. Because honestly, straight up though, okay, it's still not. I am here to get on my feet and figure out what my next step is, and I'm trying to graduate, I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to do that. I just could not do that there. So this is temporary, homie. I still want to save for my own place. Like, I don't plan on this being a permanent situation, okay? But we still needed to figure out how we were going to make the current situation happen. And if I was going to be going over there and being around my mans and his brother, well, then it stands to reason that I should at least chip in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm using up their water, their electricity. I need to, chip in. So at the time, I was a full-time student. I did not have my job. I would intern at the courthouse during the summer months and sometimes like during spring break and things like that, and winter break especially. But, having a full-time job in school at that time just wasn't feasible. However, this moment really prompted me to get a job. I was like, you know what? I have school, yes, but all the time that I'm off of school, after school, I need to be working because I need to make money. I need to help pay these bills, and I also need to save for myself because I chose to leave home, and nothing and nobody was going to convince me to go back there. I wasn't going back. So I had to figure something else. I decided to really hit it hard. I developed a brand new resume that I updated, and I just started filling out application after application after application for part-time work, nights and weekends. I didn't even care about having a social life. I didn't care about being around Robert's funky ass. I wasn't even going to have any time. He ended up getting his job at 7-Eleven, and so I really was looking for a job anywhere. So I started applying everywhere that you could possibly imagine. And at this time, all I had experience-wise was admin experience from working in the courthouse. And, like places like that ain't got no nights and weekends available. Okay. So I really had to go entry level into like a retail job in order to try to make it. So I start honing in on those places and submitting applications. I submit application to like Buffalo Wild Wings. I remember that, Target, American Eagle. I was just like going to the mall and just applying everywhere because I needed to make some money. One place, I forgot which place it was, but they were wondering if I could work on Mondays. And I was like, dude, I told you I can only work nights and weekends. And it doesn't matter if you fill out that stupid little graph of when you're available, they still come at you like that. And they were like, oh, well, we need somebody to really work Mondays. And I was like, I am a high school student. Like, I have to go to school. So a lot of places didn't work out, and I was getting really discouraged and really, really worried because I was like, I don't want to go back home. I don't want anything to do with that. Like, honestly, I was so done. Fast forward probably another 3-4 days, which puts me into the next week, and I am running out of money, and I feel terrible because at this point, Robert is the one that's like feeding me, and basically that's it every day. He's feeding me every day, and that is enough for me to feel absolutely guilty. I don't like that. Don't take care of me like that. I don't like that. So I started going in person to these places that I was applying for online. I was going there in person. So I went to the mall one day. I go by in person and, you know, hey, I submitted my resume and my application online a few days ago. I just want to check the status, you know what I mean? So that they could see my face, and that's what would set me apart, because I was really, really trying to get a job. So I go from place to place, and I end up at Ross. So I go inside Ross. I had already applied there. I do my same old spiel. I meet with the manager, who is like this dude in his late 20s. And he immediately takes a liking to me. And I will tell you guys more about this person. But he immediately takes a liking to me, and he's like, okay, so what is your availability looking like? And, you know, I told him my situation, and I was like, but I'm a hard worker, and I know that I haven't worked retail before. I didn't really have to do a whole lot of convincing. So he was really nice, and he was like, why don't you come back tomorrow for a formal interview? These are the things that, you know, I'll need from you, but, you know, I just want to kind of get some more background information on you. You know, I obviously was talking to him on the floor, so he was like, you know, I'll get back to you later. Can you come back tomorrow for an interview? And I said, yeah. So he schedules me in for an interview. I leave there feeling so excited. I walked across the street to the bus stop, because I'm obviously taking the bus. I have no car. After that conversation with him, I felt confident enough, like, okay, I'm going to go home. And I remember after leaving Ross, I went across the street to the bus stop, and I waited there for over an hour for the next bus to come so that I could go home. I actually went to Heather's house, and I told her, you know, I have my interview tomorrow. I'm so excited. All my stuff was at her place. I was texting Robert, telling him, and I felt like this was my opportunity, y'all, to really make, you know, a difference in my future, to like really help with the things that I was trying to accomplish, and to just start making money. Fast forward to the next day, and Heather already had her job that she had been working at for like 2 years at this point. So she took off for work, and I started getting ready for my interview. I remember getting out of the shower, and I looked on the bed, and there's my interview outfit that Heather helped me put together. And now thinking back at it, I'm just like, why? I don't know what time of year this was, but it was, you know, on the hotter side. So for some godforsaken reason, we decided to go with some white pants that were like kind of like skinny jeans, right? Some wedge heels, not too high, you know, a little tasteful moment. And then the top was kind of like flowy, like a blouse. And it was like this light pink and like some yellow in there, and it was flowers. So it was a very, very girly, bright, white, pink, yellow type of outfit, but the pants were stark white, and I had on my little wedges. Why I thought that was an appropriate interview outfit, I don't know to this day. Like, it was really just both Heather and I, like, smack. Why would we think that? I don't know. I do my hair, I do my makeup. I really invest some time and energy, because I really want this job. Although I'm going to be wearing my wedges, I have to take the bus, bitch. So I end up taking I always had one of those purses that it's like a tote, you know? So it's bigger. So I slipped my wedges into there, and I wore tennis shoes outside. When I left Heather's house, both she and Robert lived in a community, and the way to get out of the community to the main street was forever away. You know, like it's definitely not something that you want to be walking every day, but I definitely did. And the buses did not come into the community. So the closest bus stop was so far away. And so I wore tennis shoes, and I took off from Heather's house, and I took off walking. So I walk, you know, all the way through the neighborhood, wind up and down and all around, girl. And finally, I get to the main street. I know these buses like the back of my hand. I've been riding them for years. So I go across the street so that I can go eastbound. You know what I mean? Across the street, I find the bus bench, and I'm there about 15 minutes earlier than my bus stop time, so that I'm sure that I don't miss it, because this is mucho importante. Okay? I need my job. Nobody else is at the bench. It's just me. So I go ahead, I take a seat. I always have my iPod on me. Okay? I always have my red iPod. I definitely remember to take that shit from my mom's house, and straight up I wasn't supposed to, because she was like, hey, anything I've paid for, you don't take. So I sit down, I have my purse with my wedges in it, I have my headphones in, my iPod or whatever, and I'm just sitting there listening to music, really trying to uplift myself and really trying to tell myself everything is gonna be okay, Bish. Like, everything's gonna come together. You're gonna get this job, and it's really gonna set you in a positive motion towards your future, okay? Like, you are getting the ball rolling. About a little over 5 minutes went by, and I'm just on my phone and I'm switching songs on my iPod, just minding my own business. And I keep looking at my phone to make sure that, the bus isn't coming. And when you're sitting there at a bus stop, you can't help but like continuously look down the street to see if you can see the bus from afar, I end up looking down the street and I'm looking for the bus. I don't see it, but I do see this little gray piece of shit car. Like, I'm gonna be real, it was a piece of shit car, but it's going like this and it's weaving through traffic, and I'm sitting there watching this, and it weaves through traffic. It's going through these cars, it gets into the far right lane, and it starts coming down. And as it's about to pass me, I noticed that all of the windows in the car are down, and there are a ton of people in that car. And it's not just people, it's teenage boys, okay? So I'm a teenage girl. I see this car of teenage boys coming really fast down the street. They're in the far right lane, and when I realized that they were teenage boys, I just see the kid in the passenger seat look at me for a split second and say, bitch, and he threw something out of the window. So he's passing really fast and he throws something out of the window, and I'm just sitting there like, what? Within seconds, I had pink smoothie all over me, all over my white fucking pants. It was pink. It was like strawberry. I'm literally like this. You just see me on the side of the road at a bus stop like this, and I have pink smoothie all over me. And I look down on the curb and I see a Sonic drink or a Sonic cup that's on the ground that little asshole threw out of his window and hit me with. Bitch, I got hit with a smoothie by a car driving by while waiting at the bus stop to go to an interview that I really, really, really needed. My entire ensemble was ruined. There was no way. Girl, there was no, like, literally when I stood up, there was smoothie, like, dripping down. It was so much. Like, it wasn't like a half empty cup of smoothie. No, it was like the whole fucking thing of smoothie. It's like they got that particular smoothie just to throw it at somebody. I don't know. Like, it was so fucking much. So I sat there, y'all, and I start picking up my things, and I'm going in my head, and I start replaying that moment in my head, because I definitely saw the kid in the passenger seat, and I was like, what did he look like? What did he look like? So I start going in my mind, and I'm sitting there on the side of the road, and I'm like, okay, he had on a red hoodie. He had shorter hair, but curly hair that was a lighter brown. When he threw the smoothie out of the window, it was hot outside, and I think he had a muscle shirt on, but I saw his wrist, and he had a black band around his wrist, like one of those rubber bracelets, like you've seen them, they're everywhere, like just a regular rubber bracelet. I just remember that he had one of those on his right hand. I remembered what his hair looked like. I remember what his face looked like. I really did, because he was so close, because the bench was literally right there on the sidewalk and he was in the far right lane in the passenger seat. I knew what his face looked like when he threw that smoothie at me. This is a fucking stranger to me. I just know in my mind, I knew what he looked like. And I just really sat there and I was like, don't fucking forget what he looks like, because you might run into him again. And I could not, y'all. I had the pleasure of picking up my shit, and I called the Ross that I had an interview at. I had to very embarrassingly speak to the manager of which I was supposed to be interviewing with and let him know that I would not be attending that day for my assigned interview slot and I was honest with him, because I was at the bus stop and because somebody threw a smoothie at me and now there's smoothie dripping off of my person. So I need to go home and change. And, at this point, y'all, there was no way that I would be able to get back over there to interview at a decent time because of the fact that I did not have a car and I had to go by bus, and that just complicates everything. It adds about 2 hours to your travel time. So, just walking all the way back, changing, walking all the way back, and then taking the bus and then going over there. You know what I mean? Like it would have been just like a whole thing. So we ended up, thank God, he was so understanding and he felt so bad. And he was like, yeah, why don't we just reschedule for tomorrow? No big deal. Y'all, I ended up walking home in the heat with smoothie all over me. And I went back to Heather's house and I just cried out of frustration, out of anger. And I really was like, you know what? I made a terrible mistake. And it's one of those moments that you experience a lot when you decide to leave home. You're going to have a lot of moments where you doubt yourself, where you feel like, I can't do this. This is harder than I thought. And this was definitely one of those moments. Fast forward, and I don't know how much time went by. It was a few weeks, and I was still going to school every day. I ended up getting the job at Ross, thank God, and so I was making money, but I was going to school and working every single day, every weekend. Robert and I were hardly seeing each other. He was working at 7-Eleven until real late. I was working until closing at Ross, and we were just hustling, grinding, trying to make money, trying to go to school, and doing all of this on our own. So anyways, girl, fast forward, okay? Now, by this point in time, I had already told my friends what had happened to me, with the whole smoothie incident. And I'm sitting in the cafeteria, and in the school that I was in, we also had like a small 7-Eleven store in there. It was the craziest shit. When I transferred there, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, how bougie, right? So because I was making a little money, I had, some spending money to spend inside of 7-Eleven on special occasions, okay? So anytime I went inside 7-Eleven, I would go directly to the hot Cheetos and, the pickles and shit like that. So I was sitting in the cafeteria, and my friend and I decided that we were going to go pick up some snacks in the little store in there. And so she and I get up, we go, and I see this dude that he gets up, and I just see the back of his head, and he is walking ahead of us going the same way. So we're just, walking, talking, and I notice that this dude is going to the same place that we are. So he goes into the 7-Eleven. She and I go into the 7-Eleven. We start walking up and down the aisles. Now, this is like a school 7-Eleven, okay? It's kind of janky in there. Like, they don't have all of the stuff on the shelves, you know what I mean? So it's very, very tiny. So he goes one way, we go another. And we're going up and down the aisles, we're laughing, we're doing whatever, and I end up in front of the chips. And she goes to the back wall to go get a drink. So she and I are separated for just a second. And out of the corner of my eye, I see the same dude that I saw walk in previously coming down the aisle, and he stands pretty close next to me. And he's looking at the chips too. And he's like on his phone, like looking at the chips, but he's not really paying attention to the chips because he's texting or what the fuck ever. So he stood there for a while, which allowed me enough time to look over at him and actually look at him. That short hair is looking kind of familiar. Curly hair looking kind of familiar. Oh, what is that? Hold up. He's got his phone in his hand. And I see a black motherfucking band around his wrist. And immediately I looked up at his face, and I really looked at his face. I was like, at this point, I didn't even care about coming off weird. I looked at his face, and girl, it was him. It was him. It was him. I'm 100% positive at this point. It is him. So as I realize that it's him, and like I take a breath, like, oh my God, you little asshole. Immediately upon recognizing him, he picks his chips and he heads up to the front. And I'm just standing there so dumbfounded, like, did I just find the motherfucking person that threw a strawberry smoothie at me? Did I just find him? Because I know that that's him. And he goes to my school. I had never seen this boy before. I didn't have any classes with him. I literally did not know his name. I did not know him. I've never seen him before prior to that mishap. That rude ass shit, okay? I'm standing there dumbfounded and I cannot take my eyes off the back of his head. And my friend walks up and she was like, Nikki, you good? And I was like, nah, girl, I am not good. And she was like, what happened? And I was like, hold up. I didn't want to just tell her because I had told all my other friends what had happened, right? So I wanted to wait until we got into the cafeteria so I could tell all of them. And I wanted to see where he was going because he was going back to the cafeteria too. So I end up getting my chips and we go up to the front. I pay real fast, and the whole time I'm keeping my eyes on him. Even when he left like the little store, I'm like keeping my eyes on him the whole time. Sure enough, he goes back to the cafeteria. We go back into the cafeteria. I keep my eye on him. He goes across the room. He sits down at a table with a bunch of people I've never met before. We sit down at our table, and I have my girls there, and I'm literally staring at him across the room, and my girls are like, girl, you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not. That dude right there, the one in the black sweatshirt with the weird fucking hair, that is the asshole that threw the smoothie on me a few weeks back. Remember from my interview? Y'all remember? That was him. I'm telling you, I know it. Like, I know it. I remember his face. I remember it, and he has the same wristband that the other dude had on, but like he has the same hair, same fucking face. It is him. It's him. I know that it is. I fucking know it. At this point, my friends are all looking at me and they're like, girl, I don't know. Like, have you ever met him? Do you know him? Like, are y'all beefing? And I was like, never met him a day in my life. I just think that he decided to be an asshole that day. He thought it was cool or cute or what the fuck ever to do some shit to somebody like that. And that somebody just so happened to be me. I'm fucking fuming. None of my friends knew him either. Like, literally none of us had ever talked to, like, he just was there. No, I did not. Nobody had any clue about him. Sat there for the rest of my lunch period fuming, staring at him, fuming some more. And it was in this moment that I decided that I was going to be pretty motherfucking petty. Fast forward. Now y'all know I can wait. Y'all know I can wait. Until what? Until what? Until you forget. So I waited about another week because at this point, like I said, it had been weeks since the whole smoothie debacle happened. So I'm pretty sure it's not even on his mind. Nor would he ever think that the person that he did that to just so happened to go to his school. I knew that I didn't really have to be covert. Obviously, he's off guard. So I gave it about another week just to ponder, just to stew, come up with the right plan. Okay, here's what I came up with. Okay, I started kind of watching him every day, kind of like a stalker, I will admit. I start paying attention to the fact that he actually has some pretty good style. He wears pretty expensive stuff. He would come in J's and some Nikes. He would come in brand new jerseys. Everything that he wore was crisp, clean, and new. And I could kind of tell that he actually really appreciated his things and liked his things to remain nice, right? Okay, must be nice. I waited until I saw him in a particularly nice outfit. And he was in this white and tan jersey. I don't even know what kind of jersey it was, but I just remember it was a jersey. And he had on some of these jeans that were like darker wash. And then he had on some brand new Timberlands. And how did I know that they were brand new? Because I overheard him tell his friend that they were his brand new Timberlands. And he was so happy to finally get them. Yada, 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 whatever. So I heard this in passing in the cafeteria while he was on his way to his stupid fucking table. And he ended up sitting like in the middle of the cafeteria instead of being like in the corner. Him and his friends sat like in the middle area, right? So I watch him. He goes and sits down. I see his nice outfit. And you know how dudes do? You know how like this is the table? They don't like sit at the table with all their legs underneath the table. No. They sit like this. They'll sit away from the table with the legs all out, just like all spread out, just like a freaking monchichi, you know, like no class. His back is like up against the table and he's all sprawled out like that. So I see him, you know, gauge him, whatever, and I decide today is the day, bitch. This is perfection, perfect moment. I get up. I don't say anything to any of my friends. I don't need to. None of their business. I get up without saying anything. I go to the 7-Eleven store by myself. I get me a bag of hot Cheetos and my favorite, my pickle. Okay, now the pickle comes in an enclosed pouch that also has pickle juice inside of it because you can't just have a dry pickle. So I got my pickle, I get my chips, I go up to the front, I pay for it. The whole time I am so motherfucking calm. I'm just calm. I pay for my things, I grab them, I head back to the cafeteria. No fast movements, just no words. No warning, no nothing. I go back to my friend's table. I sit down for a second. I open up my pickle. You know, you have to like rip open the top. And I sit there and I'm like going to grab the pickle out, and I look over at him and he's still at his table all sprawled out. My friend was like, oh girl, hey, can I have some? And she was pointing at my hot Cheetos. I said, yeah girl, you can have some. I said, I'll be right back. She was like, where you going? I was like, I'll be right back. I was like, but just watch the show, okay? And she was like, Nikki, what are you doing? And the minute she says that, all my other friends are being all nosy and they're like, what? Wait, what is she doing? And I was like, I'm not doing anything. Shut the fuck up. Like, shut up. So I get up. By this point, they're all looking at me. I walk over. I have my pickle in the bag. I walk straight over to him. I have no idea who his friends are, who he is, nothing. But remember, by this point, I did not care. I could talk to anybody about anything. I didn't really care about talking to strangers. And I stand right by his leg, right by his foot, because he's like sprawled out like this, you know? So I stop right about here, and I decide to talk to his friend that's across the table. And I was like, hey, just really super random. And like, I even pretended, girl, to like stop in my tracks. And I was like, hey, do you happen to have those notes for geography? Y'all, his friend was so confused, and he was like, well, you know how they be trying to act like they know, but they don't know, and instead of saying they don't know, they just be trying to act. And he was like, I think. Okay, I was like, hold on, is that it? And I don't know what he had in front of him, girl. It was just a random piece of paper. It was a random ass fucking piece of paper. I don't even know if it was his. And I was like, oh my, is that it? That looks like it. And when I bent over, my ass purposely, okay, I'm gonna be real, I purposely went like this. Is that it? Is that it? Meanwhile, the pickle juice is coming all out of the pouch. Onto who? Onto where? Onto him, on his Timbs, girl. I'm not even talking about just a little bit of pickle juice. I poured the whole thing within a matter of a millisecond, so he could not do anything. He couldn't move his foot or his leg out of the way fast enough. All his left leg and left boot full of pickle juice. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, that got all over you. You guys, he got so mad. He stands up and he's like, what the fuck? Do you know how much money this was? Like, these are my new motherfucking Timbs. Well, those were my favorite white jeans, bitch. Again, confusion. I love it when a dude looks so confused. It is the funniest shit on God's green earth. And he's just sitting there like, what? By this point, he's made a scene. So there are other people in the cafeteria looking over at us. And I was like, what are you even talking about? I was like, do you remember about 3 or 4 weeks ago, you were riding around in somebody's broke down Pinto, a gray one, and you were going down this street and you threw a motherfucking shake out of your window onto a person at a bus stop that was wearing white, that she too enjoyed her things looking nice. Me, bitch. That was me. My bad. I didn't even realize that you were there until like I already did it. And I was like, that's too fucking bad, man. I was like, you know what? You almost ruined a job opportunity for me. I was like, bet you didn't think that person went to your school. I was like, that was such a fucking asshole thing to do. I was like, and if you ever fucking do that shit again to me, I was like, I swear to God, everything that you did to me, I'm gonna do it worse. I was like, so you ruined my white pants. You almost ruined a job opportunity for me. I ruined your pants and your stupid fucking Timbs. So now we're even. Let's call it even, okay? Nice to meet you. I'm Nikki. Don't ever fucking cross me again, and stop being a fucking asshole. Nobody likes it. It's not cute. Y'all, I walk back to my table. My friends are so extra. They start, yes. You see, because you were being a little bitch. Because you were being an asshole. You see, you got what you deserve. I went back to the table. They were hyping me up. I was like, yup. And I still sat down and was like eyeing him. I was like, say something. Y'all, he didn't say nothing else. He didn't try to fight about it. He left the cafeteria. I saw him a few times after that in the hallway. He never looked me in the eye. He never said anything to me. But that was the furthest that our communication went. That was a complete motherfucking stranger. I feel like for some reason, even though I did that, it should make me feel better, but I just feel like it's still not even, because bitch, I had to walk so far in the heat with smoothie on. Do you know what's in a smoothie? Can you remind me what's in a smoothie? Fucking milk. Milk. So milk plus heat equals I still feel like I should have done more. But that's all I did. And I hope, I'm pretty sure I ruined his Tim's. I can't imagine that you can get pickle juice out of there, but you know. And, you know, people really need to stop being rude like that, because you never know. When you do something like that to a complete stranger, you never know how much of a stranger that person is. The fact that he and I went to the same fucking school, karma, bitch. That was hilarious. That happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen, and I hope he learned his lesson that you never know. You think you may never see this person again. But, you know, God has a funny way of doing things. So don't be a rude ass person, okay, is the moral of the story. But anyways, y'all, that is my story about the time that somebody threw a shake out of their car window, hit me. I had shake all over myself. I almost lost a job opportunity because of it. And that was my revenge, even though I'm not fully happy with it. But you know, it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, y'all. If you did, please don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. And make sure that my videos stay recommended to you. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channels and hit that notification bell so you're always notified of every new video your girl uploads. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love y'all so much. Stay safe, stay of good mind, be good to yourself, be good to others, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out, girl.